tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe next.
First rule of the night when that comes out.
Yeah, definitely. I will. You kidding me? I'll be all over that.
Okay, cool. Looking forward to it. Now, Adam.
Yeah.
I've not forgotten you, my friend.
Me.
Because you and I got to see a very
we
solid
all did,
picture.
yeah.
All three of us.
Of all you watched it? Yes, you did.
Yeah.
We talked about it. Okay, well, I'm talking about Cargo, the new Netflix. It's not quite a monster movie. It's more of a zombie picture, but it's more
a zombie picture, but it's like a slow burn zombie picture. It's not a lot of jump scares, not a lot of like stuff that's like popping out. It's anyways, it takes Martin. Yeah, it's a Martin Freeman stars in this, and basically he is bitten, and it takes place in Australia, where any sort of pandemic takes place, it's going to happen in Australia.
Yes, if Australia wasn't scary enough with giant spiders,
you got Mad Max taken out there. You know what I mean? The Rover, a recent one that I liked. There was something that happens out there, and it's always in Australia.
Bears coming after you.
Yeah, so anything that's like bad happens, it'll happen in Australia, and you're forced to work with it.
Will F you up.
Yeah. So, anyways, he is bitten, and he needs to take his daughter, which is the Cargo. Infant daughter, yeah, basically carrying on her back to safety before he turns. And it's kind of the minute by minute, passing along of him trying to deal with this situation. Obviously dealing with himself and what's going to happen to him, dealing with the elements of being in Australia, and obviously dealing with, what's, the pandemic, what's going on, all these potential...
And other people sort of also dealing with this
with their stuff. So
scenario.
there's a lot to going on, and it's just like you drop an infant into this. Obviously, it just exacerbates the situation so much more. I like Martin Freeman. I like him a lot. It was like The Hobbit, but like a horror movie. The horror Hobbit. And he was getting his Precious across to where Bilbo forgot his keys. But I didn't mind this movie. It was like I said, I kind of dug the slow burn type of quality to the zombie picture. It seemed like a lot of like episode 1 of The Walking Dead. You know what I mean? It had a little bit of quality to that, kind of like you're dropped in the situation now. You're like trying to figure it out, like what's going on. Like you have to learn on the fly.
I can see that, but I got more of a sense of more of like a barren wasteland version of 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah. It's like that. It's a reflection of all those movies. Like I said, anything that's like whether it's in the zombie film genre, it's kind of thrown in. There's like it's a little bit of Why the Last Man in there too. You know what I mean?
I can see
so
that.
it's taken from a lot of those like one man solo. Apocalypse, things like that. Australian picture.
Martin Freeman, the character, they gave him different challenges that normally we don't see in these types of movies. We say zombie picture. It's a pandemic zombie movie. So we're expecting to see zombies at every turn, and I guess they're a constant threat. It's just like, no, they're a thing that is out there.
Right.
But this is like wide open plains and bushes. They're in the Australian outback.
Right.
So it's not
so that's
like
not the deadliest thing out there, potentially,
there's wild animals to compete with. There's also other crazy Australians,
or just not getting water and dying.
That too. Like you're against all this at the same time, which I thought was a really interesting setting. Now you're right. This is a very slow burn.
Yeah.
And
so it might be too slow for some people.
Absolutely, very, very, very much so. In fact, speaking of some people, we happen to have one in the room, Johnny.
Yeah. This is a terrible movie. It's so bad. It starts off. So I believe the start, and they kind of pseudo. You kind of have to think your way through why it started the way it did. But everyone's out in the middle of nowhere, Australia, and I believe it's because no one wants to be near the cities because of this big giant pandemic, zombie explosion stuff that happened. Obviously, cities, lots of people, therefore lots of zombies. If you want to survive, go to the outback. And your chances of survival, because there's less humans out there, probably reasonably higher. And it starts off with him, his wife, and their child on a boat sort of floating around. And that's sort of their solution for how long they've survived is by being on a boat. I guess zombies can't swim or something. And then
unless you've seen the movie Zombie 2 and he fights a shark.
Yeah.
So I would say he hasn't done his history.
Well, actually, my favorite zombie interpretation of zombies in water is the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, Curse of the Black Pearl. Because they're like, we're dead. We don't need to breathe. And they just like walked on the bottom of the ocean.
Just cruising.
Just like,
it's like Weekend at Bernie's too. He's got the headphones in.
They got the shuffle on.
He's shuffling across the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Anyways, a lot of references in that one.
Yeah. So I brought up that Outback thing. The reason why they went there.
It felt like a steak. I know.
Well, I think
we'll go there after the show.
I think it's part of the overall message that this movie was trying to convey was humanity has become so separated from living off of and understanding the planet itself and mistreating it that this is therefore their punishment. And it's kind of metaphorical how humanity has returned back to the outback, to the wilds, in order to figure out and
return their
relearn.
baby to a safe place before they become a ravenous beast. I get what you're saying.
Well, the baby never made it to a safe modern day type of circle.
Well, I don't think there was a modern day anything, because we come into the story. First of all, we mentioned the story of Martin Freeman carrying his child across the bush, because what's happened there is this pandemic has spread across the country. Like, it's just a thing. So different people have maps. The government is aware of it. This is at the point where society has just come to terms with the fact that this is a thing that exists. It might all get us. We're not looking for cures. We're just looking for a way for people to live with it in the environment.
Yeah. Well,
so you find dead bodies everywhere. They've got this thing that was kind of poorly explained about them burying their heads in the sand. And I couldn't quite figure out if that was a way for people who know they're turning to try to like incapacitate themselves, or if that's like a symptom of the sickness taking over, that they just feel the urge, because there was a couple of those urges that Freeman was just hit, and he knew, this is just the infection like hitting me right now. Maybe I have a seizure. Maybe I start sniffing blood and I have to like lunge towards it, or maybe I just start digging. So things like that were kind of left open-ended.
Right.
I think that may be one of those things.
Yeah.
It's a movie that you have to really. I'm giving a lot of leeway to, mostly because I like Martin Freeman. You're right. It's a biased view, and I shouldn't have it. But I don't think it was a bad movie. I think it was very unique, very inventive, and I like the concept of this taking place in a world where it wasn't just a zombie breakout. No, what's that? We're unfamiliar. It's like people know what these things are. People have like ways to defend themselves and are ready.
Right.
And people know what to do when they do get infected.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh God, what's gonna happen? I'm so lost. It's I get bitten. Now I've
like
got this. Now I got a Fitbit that tells me when I'm gonna die.
Yeah, it's like a slow.
Is it counting your steps? No, it's counting you.
But it's like a slow process, which is unique too. You know what I mean? Like the process being that way, instead of like 28 days later.
That was unique, man.
Ryan Gleason gets hit in the eye with the blood drop, and he's like, "Okay, get away from me. I'm about to turn in any second now."
Yeah.
It's not like that. You're like, "Okay, you have all the time in the world to think about it." You know what I mean? And then that's a
little crueler.
It's a little worse, I would say. You know what I mean? I guess you have time to maybe potentially walk your child to safety.
Yeah,
but
you're
at the same time, it's like, okay, now
and
I have to have these seizures, and I got nothing but. All I have to do is think, one, save this, but also that I'm going to be dead in about a couple minutes. And that's a hell of a realization.
Happening spontaneously with like a yellow goo oozing from your face orifices.
Yeah. It's just a way to make it a little grosser.
Oh, absolutely.
Which they did.
But when you first saw one of those things, I flashed to. Did you see the new It remake?
Yeah.
Okay, when the kid finds the leper.
Yep.
And it's this like horrible scene with like, because it gets like right in the camera's face, and you see like the nose. Where the nose used to be.
Like an old Ren and Stimpy cartoon?
Yeah.
But real life.
And it's just kind of like gooey and whistling and at the exhale, it's just like mucus flapping in the wind.
Whistling nose.
That's what these zombies look like when you saw them. It was, but it was decent, man. You know what? I don't want to spend too much time talking about this because the movie didn't have that much substance.
I mean, like I said, it's like I said about Netflix movies. It's like got good production. It's got the money behind it, and it's just like, it's just.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not been an original Netflix movie that have been like blown me away. There's been a few that have been like better than the others, but
bad writing. This movie was written all over it. Bad writing.
Okay, I wouldn't go that far.
They didn't even write that.
I would say there's not much substance there. If you're really a fan of this genre, then yeah, you'll like this. If you're not, and you're just looking for something to entertain you, and you figured a scary zombie movie, that's not what this is.
Right.
I am a fan of this genre. I do not like this movie.
I'm a fan of settings in Australia because there's something like I love all those
like
Australian movies.
Everybody and everything will kill you. The elements, the animal
Yeah,
life,
and there's something
people,
about creepy. It kind of like it
food,
isolates you.
the
You know,
water.
when the continent's contaminated, it's like this isolating thing. You know what I mean? It really drives home that point that you're alone. It's kind of freaky. You know,
I can
I like that.
I concur.
Wake and Fright is another great Australian horror movie. If you're so inclined to seek that out.
All right. Well, for this one, I'm actually going to give it a thumbs up. It's like the bare minimum thumbs up, and I give it a thumbs up because as I watched this, I didn't have a bad time. You know, I was intrigued by how unique some of the stuff was, and it wasn't annoying with the baby. Like sometimes when you have when you have like things like I've got to protect this one figure in a dangerous environment, the
could have been Willow, but it wasn't. That's my
fetch
review.
quest, you know, which is awful. The baby could have been crying all the time, nonstop, and it could have been really annoying.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that, and they didn't do that.
No.
You know, this just gave an interesting take on established genre, and I thought that was interesting enough to earn it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean,
get it over.
I think it stole too many pieces from far better movies. Those are some other movies that are more worth your time. Like I said, the movie Willow is that's a character saving a baby. You know what I mean, in a dangerous world that I would prefer to watch. I certainly do, but that's still a better movie. Yeah, this is another Netflix movie that I can't really get behind too much, so I'm just gonna give it a thumb sideways to down.
Okay.
So not the worst movie I've seen. I don't hate it as much as Johnny does, but I definitely really didn't enjoy it.
All right, Johnny, get your hate on.
Yeah, thumbs down. This is garbage. It is a waste of your time. Like I would say that there's better stuff out there on Netflix, but I don't know anymore. I don't know if there's better stuff on Netflix. Netflix right now is loaded with
You want to check
TV
out Cloverfield Paradox?
shows.
It's this movie that everyone loved.
I watched it. It was okay, but I wouldn't recommend that to other people.
Scorsese's got a Netflix
fans.
movie coming out. He's doing The Irishman for Netflix. If that's awful, I'm giving up on the internet.
I'm kind of burned out on zombie movies, man. I want to see Martin Scorsese do a bromance thriller.
Starring Mark Wahlberg and Mark Wahlberg as twins.
No, starring Paul Bettany.
And Paul Bettany and Will Smith. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be genius. all right. It's cargo.
They're writing that down right now, though. That's not too bad.
I'd love to see that, man. He's like, well, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
That's the best black and white buddy comedy since Billy Crystal and what's the tap dancing dude?
Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines.
Gregory Hines. What was the cop movie they did?
Oh, you're talking about
you know
I love the theme song. Damn it.
That's such a good movie. I can't think of the name.
Free, shine a light on me.
Quick, Google Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines.
It's a great song. Don't look at me that way. That is a great song.
I'm lost.
I know. Oh, Running Scared.
Running Scared. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. They should do a remake of Paul Bettany and Will Smith.
Man, you know how
remake of Running Scared.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. That would be amazing.
That wouldn't be bad. You're right.
Yeah, that'd be great. Will Smith's a little old for that now, though.
Yeah.
Let me see Don Glover.
Yeah.
Don Glover.
Because he can dance.
He can dance.
Paul Bettany and Donald Glover.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're on to something now.
Dude, make it happen. It'll be Donald Glover and that dude who plays Commissioner Gordon on Gotham. I forget his name now. He was big. He starred in the OC.
Oh, yeah.
I know his name. I feel bad now because it's been a while. But yeah, no, Running Scared remake. We want royalties. You heard it here first.
Yeah, we got this. We'll write the script for you if you need it to.
All right, I'm gonna close out real quick. Just got a couple minutes, and I want to touch on this comic I got to check out. Betty Page, Betty in Hollywood. Now this is